for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K, 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 S-I-C-K,
All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K, 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 S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. With Tony Marinaro.
55 seconds left in the penalty, a minute and 27 seconds left in regulation time. Boston 4, Montreal 3. Lafleur coming out rather gingerly on the right side. He gives it into Lemaire, back to Lafleur. Oh!
The sickest Montreal Canadiens podcast.
You're in the ball!
Sports entertainment like no other.
Rejoint, on lui fait perdre la rondelle, une passe devant. Et c'est le dégagement et ce sera la victoire des Canadiens. Coupe Stanley pour les Canadiens. Le 23e de l'histoire.
You found the dogs! John, you found the dogs! He found the dogs! And all together, they worked a young team to the top. And now, a 24th Stanley Cup banner will hang from the rafters of the famous Forum in Montreal. The Canadiens win the Stanley Cup.
Brought to you by Energy Transportation Group. Driven to be different. La Vida Tibi. Embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination. It's gonna be sick.
Good evening, Marinaro, the Sick Podcast. You're watching this on Friday, September 27, and I usually don't broadcast on Friday nights. It's usually our man, Matt O'Hayan or Shane Gaumont who take over, but it's a very, very special evening. I want to let you all know that this podcast is actually being recorded on Thursday, September 26, prior to the Canadiens and the Leafs preseason game number 3 for the Montreal Canadiens in Toronto. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I am here at Maison Principale for a very, very, very special occasion. The Barry Lorenzetti Foundation, which I'll talk to you about, they're committed to improving mental health care in Canada by bridging the gaps in the current system. They aim to do so by supporting grassroots initiatives, forging long-term partnerships to escalate their causes and position themselves as a leader in mental health care. And without further ado, I bring in the whole architect and the one behind this, the leader of it all, Mr. Barry Lorenzetti himself. Barry, how are you?
I'm great, Tony, and thanks for having me on your show. Appreciate it very much.
Well, thank you for having me and the Sick Media team here. We're very, very honored. And, the party's about to get underway here any minute now. And what a beautiful, beautiful spot. I have to tell you, I'm here with my wife. Agnello is here with his wife, Rosa. And the second my wife walked in, and she had never been here before, and I'm not just saying this, Barry, because I would imagine everyone has the same reaction. My wife said, wow. And then she said she's never been to a nicer hall, cathedral, call it whatever you want. I'm sure you have a name for it, ever before here in Montreal. It's absolutely beautiful. Maison Principale is on Ducouvent Street, corner of Saint-Antoine. It's in St. Henry. And Barry, right before we were actually going to be recording this podcast, you were telling me of when you acquired Maison Principale. So talk to me about when you acquired it.
Sure.
And what's behind it.
Yeah, well, thanks so much. And thanks for the bit of publicity there. I appreciate it, Tony. Our family acquired Maison Principale on February 22, 2002, sorry. So we're going into our second year.
So 2022.
2022,
okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I was at Maison Principale for a particular event, and the owner came up to me and said to me, would you be interested in owning or purchasing this place? And I said, well, I'm not really, our family's not really into this business. And then having to get to know him a bit better, and I started getting interested in it. Talked to the family. They said, yeah, Dad, that might be something we'd like to get into. So we had our lawyers look at it, did a bit of a due diligence, but then I said there's got to be one condition, aside from obviously the usual things like pricing or so. I said that the young lady who's running the show here, the director of operations, Gabriella Gulati, has to be involved in the deal. She has to stay. She has to be my director of operations. And of course, he said, well, look, I can't make that and I can't speak on her behalf. And I said, well, look, give me her coordinates. She happened to be in Florida. I flew down to Florida with Karine, my wife. We had dinner with her and Mario Rossi, her husband. And about 3 hours later, she agreed. And then a couple of days later, we signed the deal. So,
fantastic
and
stuff.
Gabby is the one that runs it. She's just amazing.
As a matter of fact, I'm looking forward to tonight, and it's going to be a sneak peek for me because I'm going to be here as a guest on the 19th of October. We have a family wedding here.
Fantastic.
As a
Thank
matter
you.
of fact, my
Thank
wife's first cousin is getting married here on October 19th.
I'm not giving you a discount. Thank you. For
Well, the contract's already been signed, so that's okay.
All right.
And I believe in you pay what it's worth, and you pay.
Well,
you
you're
know?
very kind. You're very
All right, okay. Mental health, you're supporting it. It's such a great cause. I don't know how you feel about this. We'll find out in a second. I really do believe that mental health is in every family. I really do believe that probably mental health is in every human, because we all have our moments. How long have you been associated with giving to mental health initiatives? And where do you want to take this?
Yeah, I mean, thank you. This is our sixth gala. We started this at the Rialto Theater, and it's grown. You can see how much it's grown in the past 6 years. But the idea came to me about 9-10 years ago. You said the right thing. It's so obvious. From my perspective, we had a situation in our very own family. My uncle, Arthur, who served in the Second World War, he would come over on a Friday night. My mom would cook him a good meal, probably the only good meal he probably had the whole week. And, we always thought Uncle Art is a little different. What's wrong with Uncle Art? And my mom explained it in those days. She said, well, son, he suffers from shell shock, which, of course, is PTSD.
Yes.
And so it got me to thinking. And, as I grew my businesses and had a few more bucks in my pocket, Tony, I decided to do something that I always wanted to do, and that was to put more money into the community in respect to mental health, which is very dear to us. It touches our family, and it's something that we're very proud to do. And it's something, it's dear to my heart. We support a lot of causes, as you can see from our pamphlets, from the decor tonight. And it's something that is going to continue, and we're very proud of it.
You have many passions in life, one of which is sports. Another one is music, and I think we're going to be able to see some on display here, but we're also going to be able to see sports on display here, because the reason why we're here for many reasons. Number one is to support a great cause, but we're also happy to find Paul Byron and Chris Nilan are here, and they're both going to join me on the Sick podcast coming up. All right. So you'll have a chance to hear from two former Montreal Canadiens who you named a little while ago as ambassadors.
Yes, sir.
Tell me the reasoning behind that and how that all came about.
Yeah, I'd love to. First of all, Paul Byron is someone that I always admired. I mean, his speed on the ice. I got to know Paul a lot better when we had the first annual Foundation Cup in April of this year, where my team confronted Louis Morissette's team. He supports a foundation for autism. My foundation, of course, with mental health. Paul Byron was outstanding on the ice. I got to know him much better, an outstanding young man. And he talked about some of the things he'd like to do now that he moved out of being a hockey player and more into development. And I said, look, I'd love to have you, the development phase, what you're doing right now, I'd love to have you be part of our foundation and as an ambassador. Paul immediately agreed. Chris Nilan is someone that I always admired. Being a 233rd draft pick or whatever it was, the one before the last, someone that's always been an underdog, etc. But I got to know Chris quite well as well. And I want to share something with you that I think is very important. As you know, our family also has an entertainment company.
Yes, I've been to many of the shows.
Yep, and we've done plays, we've done films, etc. And off the cuff one night, with Chris, I said, Chris, have you ever, or would you consider doing a one-man show for me, for our foundation? We'll produce it under Mag Just Jen. And it would be a one-man show, not about your pugilistic capabilities or something like the Gladiators, but your own life, what you've been through as a human being, and the challenges that you've had as a human being, aside from hockey. And Chris said to me, he said, you're the first person that talked to me about something like this, as opposed to just my pugilistic, to use my term, capabilities.
Isn't that something? Because his life is really something. We talk about trials and tribulations.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I said, I want you to be one of my ambassadors, but I want you and I to spend some time and see if we can put something together in late May, early June next year, and put a life story right here at Maison Principale. your life story, similar to maybe what Mike Tyson did, and he was overjoyed with that. And as soon as the lawyers got it, of course, it took a little bit more time, but everything is now in place. So here's a scoop. Maison Principale will host Chris Nilan end of May, beginning of June. We're putting the dates together.
Wow.
The story of Chris Nilan, the one-man show, and obviously you, your team, everyone's invited to that.
Wow.
So there you go.
Isn't that amazing? Barry, what can we expect here tonight? And once again, this will be showing on Friday, September 27, but it was recorded on Thursday, September 26th.
Mm-hmm.
We are at Maison Principale, and the show's about ready to get underway probably in the next half an hour or so. The doors just opened up. Yep. What can we expect? What's the night all about?
Well, the night is, of course, obviously a tribute to our veterans, a tribute to the causes we support, St. Mary's Hospital, etc. You're going to see representatives from all of those folks. You're going to see representation. You're going to see some tremendous talent on stage. Brittany Kennel is here. We support Brittany,
who sings the anthem at the Bell Center.
Exactly.
Of course, we've
Brittany,
had a chance to see her.
And she's going to be doing a lot more than just the anthem tonight.
Good.
We've got Sophie Hébert, who is going to do a tribute to Jean-Pierre Ferland, who passed away, of course. And I'm probably going to get up on stage and do something that is quite unique. We're going to do Now and Then and a couple of other Beatle tunes, but something that I think everybody's going to enjoy tonight. We're going to have fun.
Barry,
that's the main thing.
You're a great Montrealer, and as a Montrealer, I say thank you for everything you do in our community.
Tony, thank you.
It hasn't gone unnoticed. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, there you have it. Barry Lorenzetti, the Barry Lorenzetti Foundation. We're going to bring in Chris Nilan any minute now, and Yellow's going to go get Chris Nilan. And the Sick Podcast is brought to you in part by several partners, one of which is Energy Transportation Group, a leading full-service logistics provider serving all of North America. They are driven to be different, a top fleet employer by Forbes over the past several years. It's a great spot to actually work and start a career. And check out their website, www.shipenergy.com. Also talk to you about another partner, which is Playground. Step into the world-renowned poker experience at Playground, where free food and drinks, a cash game tables, a Babby jackpot that is over $2.1 million, weekly promotions, daily tournaments, unmatched customer service. Why play anywhere else? Just minutes from downtown Montreal, across from the Mercier Bridge. Playground. Without further ado, I think we're going to bring in Chris Nilan or Paul Byron, one of the two, any minute now. They've gone to get them. Here we go. My former colleague, when we worked English sports radio together for several years, and Chris and I haven't had the chance to do this all that much over the last couple of years, but every time we do, it's kind of cool. Here he is. I grew up idolizing the guy. He knows that. My first hockey idol was Guy Lafleur. My second hockey idol was Chris Nilan, and my third hockey idol was Stéphane Richer. And of course, they all brought something different to the table, but they were very, very essential in having their teams win. And then I had a chance to work with them. Chris, once again, I mentioned that this is being recorded on Thursday, September 26th, but it's playing on Friday, September 27th. We're going to talk to you about a couple of things, but one of the big things we're going to talk to you about is Barry Lorenzetti just told us the scoop. He's going to do basically a story of your life. He's going to be able to put it to action into a play, and it's going to take place in Maison Principale. We're looking at May or June of next year. You must be thrilled with that. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Listen, Barry, I met at the hockey game at the Bell Center that you were at, and we hit it off, and he had asked me if I'd come aboard with his company, Lauren, in the foundation, Lorenzetti Foundation, and they do a lot of work in mental health. So I said, yeah, I'd be interested. So he brought me on board as an ambassador with Paul Byron and Brittany Kennel, which is awesome. Two really great people, Paul and Brittany. And then we got talking about a couple different things, and the one-man show come up. Mike Tyson did it in Vegas, and I've watched it. I think it's pretty funny, enlightening in a lot of ways, and it's funny. I often say this, when we get introduced on the ice the first time you come out, and the forum back in the day or whatever, Chris Nilan comes out, number 30, Chris Nilan.
The voice, the great Claude Mouton.
Nobody, Tony, has a clue of how that person got to that point in their life. They don't have a clue. They don't have a clue how they grew up. They don't have a clue what their family like life was like, their hockey life as a young kid, how they got to that point in their life. And sure, some stories, and again, I know my friend Barry and Vito find my story really interesting. And, it certainly covers the mental health area too. And I had my issues with drugs and alcohol at the end. And when I decided to change my life. So, I mean, that's part of my story, but, just to be able to entertain the thought of getting up in front of 500 people and kind of bearing my soul. It's, let's say a little nerve wracking when I think about it, but I think I'll be fine with it. It's my story. It's my truth. And, I told Barry when we were going into this that, I'm going to certainly give it my full attention and effort. And I'm going to make it so people are laughing, people are crying, and it's going to be evocative. It's going to move people in ways where, and give people that look into a window into my life to things they really probably never heard or knew about.
Wow, isn't that something? So I'm starting to get a better idea of it now. You brought up the name Vito, of course, for Vittorio Rossi, who's a tremendous actor. He's the hop, skip, and a jump away from my house. He's in Villemard. He's a Villemard boy.
Yeah.
And so I've gotten to see many of his plays that he actually does for Barry, which is amazing. So this will be a one-man show then. This will be, you'll be up there and it'll be one night and that's it. Is that it?
Well, we're looking at doing that first show and see what kind of interest it draws. And we may end up doing as many nights as we can here.
Oh, that's amazing.
He wants to promote it, obviously. And, however many people they get in there, whether it's 400 people for that show, and then look at maybe selling it beyond that. And also looking at maybe taking it to different cities. We'll see.
That's amazing.
Certainly this city, I think that could drum up a little interest. Maybe in Boston. Who knows?
That's amazing, Chris. So, and you know what? You deserve it. And your story deserves to be told because there's quite a story there. You're probably going to be up there for a long time.
Yeah, I'll be
right?
there for a while.
There's quite a few stories there. Quite a few stories.
It's picking the ones and selecting the ones that can also, there has to be a certain takeoff point. Right?
Yeah.
And then what stories are going to fit in there to be able to, hold the attention of the audience and make it enjoyable for the audience. So,
Chris, it's not every day that the audience gets to hear your take on the Montreal Canadiens, and of course you have the Ron Knuckles podcast, and every now and then you got some Montreal Canadiens talk and some interviews. But if you can, now that you're here, if you can give us some of your time, once again, this is prior to the game versus the Leafs, so we don't know what came out of that game. But the first couple of preseason games have gone well, but Marty St. says, I don't care. I just want to see where the players are at. So what's your level of excitement this year? I mean, everyone says they want to be in the mix. Maxime Lapierre came out a couple of days ago and said, after a lot of reflection, he's going out on a limb. He thinks the Canadiens are going to be in the playoffs. Are you that optimistic? Or?
Well, listen, I came here to talk about the one-man show, not about hockey. Sorry,
okay,
Tony.
let's talk about the one-man show then.
No, listen, it's like anything. When you go into a new hockey season, everybody's excited. Everybody wants the team to do well. I do. I want to see them do well. I think looking at the season a lot, like every season for every team, health plays a big part. You look what happened to Kirby Dach last year, and what happened. All that, everything went on to Suzuki's shoulders last year as a centerman, and he didn't have that guy in the tool hole to carry some of that load. And listen, he handled it well.
Yeah, he responded well to his credit. You're right, but the fact that the team's not deep enough to have injuries.
Listen, I don't believe the team is. They're great on defense. They got a lot of players. They got some question marks there. What they're going to do is Ryan Backer and Lane Hutson going to be in Laval. They're going to start there, which I think would be a good place for them to kind of start out there and see how they progress in the game.
Lane Hutson too? Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I think I have a little bit. I wonder about Mike Matheson and Lane Hutson in the lineup at the same time. Do you ever wonder about that?
That's two risk takers.
Okay.
Two risk takers.
So, and listen, you got to take some risks to score goals. But how many games last year this team let in 5 goals or more? Was it 17?
A lot.
A lot.
Yeah. But they also lost a lot of games by a goal.
Yeah, but that's fine.
Yeah.
But all those goals, and I think defensively as a group, they have to really improve. Now, I get it, scoring goals. You look at shutting teams down when it comes playoff time, shutting teams down and winning hockey games. And that's something I think this team has to get better at as a group. And I think they need more grit on this team, like guys that can play a regular season, withstand that, and then 4 rounds of 7 games and be standing at the end. Not only standing, but win.
Yeah.
And you look at last season with Florida, and they're built a certain way, and they get rid of some guys, and guys moved on and all that. But the Sam Bennett's of the world, this team needs guys like that.
Wow. He's a beauty.
But they need guys like that.
Yeah.
And Kachuk, a great player, but they need guys like that. And when you think back in the day, right, we got Bambi instead of getting the other
Kakanyemi instead of getting Brady Kachuk. That one set them back.
Think about it.
Yeah.
Right?
Mind you, some will say that if they would have got Brady Kachuk instead, they would have done better in the standings, and then they wouldn't end up getting Slavkovsky. You know what I mean? But anyway, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So you think, though, they'll be in the mix?
I think they're going to be closer. Like, they kind of, point-wise, they're going to be kind of on the precipice this year. I think they'll be chasing it because I like what they're saying. Like, we want to prove a lot of people wrong, and every team wants to do that when a lot of the fan base and media do not have faith in them that they're going to make the playoffs. And maybe they do prove us wrong. I hope they do.
Yeah.
I just think they're not quite there yet. And will Kent Hughes at some point this season start to inject some of those players, like some men, into that lineup? And not that they're all bored, but guys with experience, guys with that grit that can really be difference makers when it comes playoffs.
So if you would have a chance, you would start at this point already, now 3 years into the rebuild, start trading away some of those draft picks because they've had so many, and start trying to make the team better.
And maybe at some point this year.
Yeah. I think that'll happen.
You got to look at it. And, you make a run for it. And in year 5, of course, you got to get those players. You got to stock the shelves before, year 5. But maybe year 5, you got 1 or 2 pieces you still may want, or you may have to add to really get over the hump.
Yeah,
so
you know what? I agree with what you're selling. And I even took a look at the math, and I said the season's 6.5 months. If they pick up an extra win in the first 6 months, that's 12. And they pick up an overtime loss in the half month of April, that's 13. Added to the 76 they had last year, that gives you 89. 91 made the playoffs last year. I think it was a little bit more than that. I think they're going to be in the mix. They want to be in the mix. I think they'll be in the mix. But then again, one injury throws everything off because once they're just not deep enough to sustain injuries. Mind you, they've added Patrik Laine, but I'm excited about it. I'm not going to put too much pressure on him. I mean, I think
see what he does. And hopefully, listen, he's still young, but is he going to buy in? Is he going to be a positive for this team in the locker room, on the ice? Are we going to see a different Laine than we saw in Columbus and the other place? That remains to be seen. Hopefully. I mean, look at it. Every GM's, we've seen players come before and guys pick up players who have had red flags waving, okay? They've done it here. They've done it all over the league. Look at Alex Galchenyuk. Everybody thought they could fix him and get something out of him.
Chris, that's exactly, you read my mind. It's exactly where I was going with this. So appreciate your time before, you can spend the rest of your night with your beautiful Jamie. My last question to you, and I think you just answered it, was going to be, the players assistance program, and you've actually talked and helped a lot of players before they went in and when they came out. We have to be honest, everyone's pulling for him. Yeah. But the amount of stories of players that came out of the players assistance program and started being as productive as they were in their best years before going in, there's not that many. It's hard.
Yeah, it's very difficult. And, good on them for doing it. But, listen, there's one issue that you get, like when I had to get well, I had to get the drugs and the alcohol out of my life. Okay. And then it's more about changing things in your life, character defects, stuff like that, than it is. The drinking and the drugging is a symptom of the real problem. Okay. So whatever it was he was dealing with, that what he had to go in the program for to take care of, whatever he had to get taken care of there, that was a symptom of the real problem. And if you don't get to the real problem, that behavior starts to repeat itself. So hopefully that's what happened. I know, and I can only talk in my case, not his case. I know I had to change some things, and I did without losing myself.
And you're going to find out a lot more about what he had to change. You're going to find out a lot more about what he had to go through. The story of Chris Nilan, the one-man show in May 2025, June 2025. They're going to start with one show. I know they're going to sell 400 or 500 tickets. I know they're going to fill the place. Heck, if all my cousins come, you're going to sell the 500, right? That's not going to be a problem. And hopefully it's going to be 2 shows. That's going to lead to 4. It's going to lead to 8. It's going to lead to Montreal, to Toronto, to Boston, to all around North America. He deserves it. It's a great story, and he is the one who's going to be telling it right here at Maison Principale. Thank you, Chris Nilan.
Yeah, thank you, Tony. And again,
always fun.
Hopefully this thing goes as well as we're hoping it does, and we can raise a lot of money to raise the money for raise more awareness for mental health and the issues that people struggle with daily in life and never reach out to get help because of the stigma of mental health. So hopefully this brings more attention to it, and this thing goes over big and we can raise lots of money. Well
said, Chris. He and I had so many great times together in the studio. You would have guessed it was there and it was not on the ice, of course. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
There
Tony.
you have it, Chris Nilan.
Best,
thanks, my man. All right, there you have it. I wore the Montreal Canadiens red jersey, number 30, Chris Nilan, when I was in high school, and actually got into a scrap at one point and went into the principal's office, and I said, I'm not used to doing this. And he said, yeah, look at the jersey you're wearing. The Sick Podcast is brought to you in part by Bittt Tibi. They launched their new Ultra Lager. It's a refreshing, thirst-quenching beer, perfect for the hot summer days with only 90 grams of calories, 2 grams of carbs, 4% ABV per can. Available in a pack of 6 and 12 in grocery stores all around the province of Quebec. It's ultra light and ultra refreshing. Without further ado, I bring him in. He had a real good career in the National Hockey League. He defied all odds. Everyone knows him. He was a speedster, and no one can forget that goal on the breakaway versus the Toronto Maple Leafs. Paul Byron, how you doing, man?
Doing well, thanks, Tony. How are you?
Nice to see you, Paul. We had Barry Lorenzetti in, and then Chris Nilan followed him. Barry, of course, made us all aware that he brought in you and Chris as ambassadors to the Barry Lorenzetti Foundation, who, of course, are trying to raise awareness towards mental health. And here we are on this Thursday, September 26th. This show is airing on the Friday, the 27th, to try and raise some money for such an important cause. Talk to me about your association with the Barry Lorenzetti Foundation and what it is you can do to help out.
Yeah, it's funny enough. The last time we did the podcast was at his hockey game.
It was?
That's the first time I met Barry, and
the Foundation Cup.
The Foundation Cup.
We went back at Da Vinci for a pretty good meal that day.
We had a great meal, good time, good day, and we kind of hit it off pretty well. And for me as an ambassador,
if we could just get that closer. Yep. Sorry, no, there we go, just like that. There we go. We're good.
It's just kind of to help support his organization. Bring people in, create support, awareness. In life now, the stigmas, we're trying to break barriers, trying to help people. Everyone's got a family member. Everyone knows somebody who's got mental problems. And the way I can kind of relate to it is imagine going through life without wearing glasses and you can't see.
Amazing. Yeah, it's amazing.
Until you know somebody that has to go through the struggles and dealing with that kind of stuff, you don't understand. And so, we're trying to get there. We're trying to raise money, awareness, and any way I can do that to help, it is a great day for me.
That's a great way of putting it, actually. I never thought about that, but wearing glasses and you don't and trying to get by. You're right about that. How busy are you in your after career? So many players say that when they hang up their skates that they miss it and they miss the locker room more than anything else. And I would imagine some players say that to try and get over that, they try and stay as busy as possible. How busy are you? I know you're doing some work with the Montreal Canadiens, and what other work are you doing?
Yeah, I'm actually probably pretty busy, busier than when I was playing.
Really?
and in a good way. I'm working with the team. I'm doing player development. Right now, training camp is obviously a busy time for us. Right before camp, we had 45 players that were skating and training in Brossard, and the NHL coaches aren't allowed to be on the ice. So as a skills coach, we're allowed one guy on the ice with each group. So for the last few weeks, I've been skating them, getting them ready for camp, and now we're in full throttle. We have the rookies, we have the American League guys, we have all our pro guys. So it's full go. When I get home, then I got to go home and plan my practices for Adam. So I'm coaching Adam AA at my son's team.
Oh, wow.
Head coach first year, maybe do the Marty thing. We'll see.
Yeah.
But, it's taking up a lot of time. It's helping with my job's development. I'm getting to learn the young players, just drawing up a practice, working on the board. You don't realize how hard some of that stuff is, going from playing your whole career to all of a sudden now you're the guy at the marker, and you got to make sense and create a drill that makes sense and to relate to 10-year-olds. It's not easy to do, but I enjoy doing it.
Have you sat with anyone to say, hey, can you help me out here? Or are you going by like just all your previous experiences and previous coaches and maybe a little bit of research? Or is there somebody that's kind of guiding you? Do you pick up the phone every now and then and call someone and say, hey?
Well, last year I started as an assistant, so I had really good coaches. We kind of worked as a group, and then my whole year last year working with like Scott Pellerin, Adam Nicholas, talking with Marty, JF, and all the crew down in Laval. Like I feel like just experience every day, just kind of sitting in the meetings, listening, seeing how things are done, how they prep, how they practice, and kind of bringing that into my stuff. And Adam has really helped me a lot. So I'd say all the Canadian staff, Laval staff, they've helped me. And anytime I've had questions, what to do, Marty's always there too. So it's great to pick apart his mind and kind of understand what he was doing in Connecticut and their junior program too.
In some jokes, there's a little bit of seriousness in there. And you said a couple of minutes ago, maybe I'll pull a Marty. Do you want to be a coach in the National Hockey League one day?
Not right now, no. It was more of a joke. I really like what I do in player development. I just don't have the time right now, to be honest. To do what Marty does right now,
24/7.
24/7. Like people have no idea how much time and work and video these guys do, even at the American League level, the travel. It's more than as a player, probably 2 or 3 times more work. My son's 10, my daughter's 11. I missed out years of their lives to pursue my passion, my dream, my career. So for now, my main focus is just enjoying life with them, embracing every moment, and being able to enjoy the time with them that later on in life I can't buy back.
And that time with your son on the ice with his team, you must love that, eh?
I love it, yeah. The kids love it too. We got a great group of kids in our area. Some of them still remember me as a player, so it's pretty fun to see some of their faces. They're like, hey, can you still play? Can you still skate?
Yeah.
And so when we blow the whistle, we do one hard lap. I always let them know that I can still move around the ice a little bit.
Speaking of love, Canadiens fans have already fallen in love with Laine Hutson, and he's played 2 NHL regular season games last year versus Detroit. There's some naysayers out there, the way there were for you, and I'm sure you could relate, and I get it, 2 different positions. But all your life, you probably had a bunch of people telling you that you were too small, or you heard the noise that you were too small and you were never going to make it. You proved everyone wrong. I think Laine's going to do the same thing. I've had a chance to cover guys like you and Marty St. and Jonathan Marchessault, and the list goes on and on. Anyone who's a small player. And what I've realized over the years is those small players, Danny Briere, those that make it to the National Hockey League, they shouldn't be doubted because it took so much character and adversity for them to be able to get over the hump and get there, that they're the real deal. And I put you in that category. You really were. I'm not just saying that. I've always said that. I'm not betting against Laine Hutson. As a matter of fact, this is all on tape, and I'm probably going to end up making a fool of myself. But the other day I said that at one point in his career, I think he's going to end up picking up a point per game. I don't know how many seasons that's going to happen. I put myself out there. Quinn Hughes picked up 92, I think, a year ago and ended up winning the Norris. I just think he's that good. But once again, he's not a big guy. What is he? Probably about 5'9", about 160 pounds. I'm sure you can relate to him. How do you see him through your eyes?
I feel like every time he's on the ice, you're so captivated by what he's doing. Like you said, he had to go through so much adversity and fighting through so much. I look back at my career and people from Pee Wee on are, he's never going to make it. He's too small and wait till contact, wait till guys start targeting him. So you're talking about 10, 15 years of guys taking runs at him, trying to hit him. And you know what? You just can't touch him. He's that good. He's that quick. He's that elusive. He knows how to protect himself. And he's just so dynamic with the puck on the ice. He's such
pardon
a
me, Paul,
difference
you
maker.
can't touch him as well because being small all his life, and once again, you can relate to this, you have to exercise your brain so much to not get hit, to get out of those situations, that you're taking pictures on the ice, you're taking information, you're aware of all your surroundings. So once you get to the National Hockey League, for some players who have probably had to rely on athleticism or physicality, he's relied on that hockey brain, and that's what's going to get him through, right? That's going to be the difference.
100%. He's playing on another level than a lot of guys. He's thinking and adjusting and making reads that, you don't see it unless you're really focusing. You know what to look for. His mind is just so intuitive of what's around him, surroundings, understanding pressure and gaps and where forecheckers are coming from. It's just something he's had to deal with his whole life. So he's pretty elite at it. And you mentioned Quinn Hughes, and I don't want to put anyone into a box, but if he can develop into what Quinn does for Vancouver, I think Montreal fans will be pretty happy with that. I'm sure
they'd be pretty happy with someone who can help the power play too, right? It's been an area where when you don't make the playoffs, and we understand why they haven't over the last 3 years. It's a consequence of doing a rebuild, and everyone understands that. But when you look to try and create more offense, one of the first areas you look is the power play. And you say, well, if you can get into the first half of the power play in the league instead of being in the second half or the second third, well, then all of a sudden that's going to translate to probably 10 more points in the standings, for example. Do you believe that he can quarterback a power play and probably even do it as soon as this year, or is that asking for too much? Is that asking too much?
I'd say right now it's hard to say. Obviously Mike's done a great job on our team. We've added Patrik, who's going to be a tremendous help to the power play alone. Having such a big shot threat is going to change the way people play their penalty kill, because you're going to have to respect the shooter. It's going to spread out their box, their diamond a little bit more than you have to, where before they could kind of play us tighter and they kind of know what we want to do. So now we have a bit more unpredictability. Until we see Laine doing it consistently day in, day out in the NHL level, it's hard to say, can he do it? But in the future, I think he can 100%. It's a question of when. Could be tomorrow, could be a month, could be, we'll see. We'll see how he does. I mean, we have a lot of faith in him as a hockey player. He's super dynamic with the puck. We see the plays he can make. And, his clip the other day, that sauce pass, it's just stuff that regular people just can't do. And, he's a special talent, and we're pretty excited to watch him.
We talk about player development. Player development obviously works. Chris Nilan was here before. He'll tell you that he used to be on the ice with Claude Ruel, and they used to do 30, 45 minutes of overtime all the time, trying to work on enhancing some of his skills. I saw Michael Pezzetta score a goal the other night. He scored two of them, the second one in the empty net. You see that shot? You can tell he's working on that shot. He's working with Adam Nicholas, and he's working on his own. Yep. You could tell that's a much improved shot.
Mike's improved so much over the last 3-4 years. He's one of the hardest working guys day in, day out. He knows his role. If you would have looked back maybe 4 years ago, I think it was the COVID year where he was playing with Joel Bouchard in the American League. If you would have looked at him then and said, okay, this guy's going to be an everyday NHLer, I don't think people would have believed you. But that's a credit to his work, the details, the amount of time he's put in to develop those parts of his game. And it was a great shot. You watch him in practice, he can go down, he can snap them, and a fourth-line player in the NHL is a pretty good hockey player. I don't think people realize that.
No, you're right about that, because at the end of the day, those are the 700 best hockey players in the world, right? Yep. And that's something. You brought up Marty. I won't keep you too much longer. You'll be able to go enjoy the night with your wife. You spend a lot of time with Marty. You spend a lot of time with Adam Nicholas. You spent a lot of time with JF Hula, was the coach of the Laval Rocket last year. I'm sure you're going to spend a lot of time with Pascal Vincent, who's coaching the Rocket this year. You talked to us about the hours they put in, all that stuff. What is it about Marty that has you say, wow, that impresses me? Because there's a lot to impress you, obviously, before as a player, as a coach. He, too, overcame a lot of obstacles. When people found out that he was coaching Bantam or Midget or whatever it was, and that he became the interim coach of the Montreal Canadiens, I mean, let's be honest, a lot of people laughed. Now, those who saw his career and doubted him, and he proved them wrong every single time, they probably didn't laugh, because they said, I'm not betting against him a second time, right? But I just think he's the right guy for what they're trying to do here right now.
I think so too. And people laugh at the Pee Wee, the Bantam, the Adam thing, but what better way to connect with a group of young players than someone that literally had to connect with 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds, 14-year-olds, 16-year-olds. You take a 21, 20-year-old, 18-year-old Slavkovsky, and you start realizing they're a lot closer to a 16-year-old than a 30-year-old. So how do you connect? How do you get them on the same page as you? And what separates Marty, I'd say, is that many good players are great players, but what makes them a great player? They're not able to communicate why they're a good player. Marty understands the game probably better than anyone I've ever met in my life. His communication skills are incredible, and he has this way of kind of explaining and making you understand concepts that are going into his mind. And he's doing a great job with our young team to try and get them on the same page and getting them playing the hockey the way he sees it. And the way that the hockey's evolving and modernizing and getting there, it's it's exciting times for Habs fans.
All right. In the mix this year? That seems like that's what everyone's going for, eh? In the mix?
We'll be in the mix.
Definitely, eh?
I think so. I think so. I think when you watch camp and you see the way the guys are working, the attitude, the focus, the commitment to our team, the additions we made, getting Kirby back, don't want us to put words and boxes and this and that, but we were in 23 one-goal hockey games last year. We missed Kirby. We didn't have much secondary scoring. So if a lot goes right for our team, I don't see any reason why we can't be.
If a lot goes right for your team, you can make the playoffs this year. And I know a lot of people aren't saying it not to put pressure, but think about what you just said. 23 one-goal hockey games. You got Kirby Dach back.
Mm-hmm.
You got Patrik Laine.
Yep.
Lane Hutson probably will be on the team. Montembeault is ready to take his game to another level. He wants to be at that level because of the Four Nations Cup coming up and, of course, Canada next year and all that stuff and representing them. I mean, if every month they pick up a win, and I mentioned this to Knuckles, one win more every month, and an overtime loss in April, which is half a month, that's 13 points. You go from 76 to 89. 91 made the playoffs last year.
That's it.
If every month you pick up one win and one overtime loss more, you go to 96. You're in the playoffs. I believe.
Oh, that's good. And that's what's different. I'd say guys on our side, I think, believe that too. And that's where it starts. I played in Calgary, I think it was 2014-15, the year that everyone picked us to be in the Connor McDavid sweepstakes.
Yeah.
And we made the playoffs when we won a round.
That's amazing. I'll leave you with this. What do you think of Oliver Kapanen? I mean, I was really impressed with what I saw the other night.
Yeah, Rob Ramage called me last year, says, I want you to watch some film, watch Oliver play, tell me what you think, this and that. And I watched one hockey game, and I said, that's going to be an NHLer one day.
Wow. Maybe sooner than we think.
Maybe sooner than what we think.
Paul Byron, enjoy your night here tonight at the Barry Lorenzetti Foundation. Nice to see you, man.
That's good to see you, too.
All right, thank you very
Tony.
much. All right, one of my favorite people, not just saying that because he's here, but anytime you're able to have a career at the size that he was, I think it's pretty commendable, and I think it's pretty cool. Marinaro, a shout out to Betway. Betway is a leading global online betting and gaming brand. Follow your gut instinct. Go with Betway. Go on betway.com or scan the QR code to join the action. Must be 18 years old and play responsibly. Once again, in case you're just joining us and you're watching this on Friday, September 27, in all transparency, I want to let you know that this was actually taped on Thursday, September 26th, prior to the Canadiens visiting the Maple Leafs in their third preseason game of the preseason schedule. All right. The Maple Leafs will visit the Montreal Canadiens on Saturday night. So this was prior. Why? Because we are at Maison Principale on Ducouvent, corner of Saint-Antoine and St. Henry. This establishment is owned by Barry Lorenzetti. And tonight, the Barry Lorenzetti Foundation is raising funds for mental health initiatives, for mental health awareness, raising awareness all the time. They're doing such a great thing. And I want to thank everyone with the Barry Lorenzetti Foundation, starting with Barry Lorenzetti, with Susan, with Gabby here, with Katrina, with the entire staff. I mean, they really wanted us to be here, and we really wanted to be here, and they can count on us going forward because they do such great things in the community, and we're very, very Barry Lorenzetti Foundation. And special thanks to our partners. Energy Transportation Group is one, Playground is another, Bittt Tibi is another, and Betway is another. And special thanks to Sammy and Juliana at Master Control. Special thanks to all of you who were watching. Once again, if you like the podcast tonight, comment sick, Share it with your friends. Tell everyone about it. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. And once again, you're listening to the Sick Podcast, weeknights, Monday to Friday at 10 p.m. I'm Marinaro.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Tony Marinaro on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts. The Sick Podcast is brought to you by Energy Transportation Group, driven to be different. Bittt, embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination.